Alright folks, if like me you're working for him and you're writing music, I've just finished this song. It's mastered and everything, sounds really good. Using a clipper here, that's a sonable, that just shows you the lines that everybody wants you to follow. There's like a billion different types of these programs. Limiter up here, this is the wee waves that tells us about a LUFS, that's what I'm going to talk about. That's just a compressor which is part of Cubase. And again, we've got the numbers over here. I like to look at the different ones. I like to look at these numbers here. And the limiter, it's like 12 the new somehow. Also 12 here, and it's 12 there. Now, I've looked at a lot of people, tons of people online that all talk about the LUFS. And one of the things a lot of them they keep referring to is the other sites. And the thing is, if you go through a lot of the different sites and all that, they want different numbers. Which is a pain in the arse, and 14 seems to be the magic number. But a lot of people want to push it further than that. Some people are pushing it towards 8 and 6, and even people are demanding of their mastering engineers to push it to that number, because the argument they're saying is there's a thing called perceived level. So if you push something up, and then when you put it onto Spotify or anything like that, and then they use their software, limiting software, to pull down the levels, then even though they're pulled down, because they have crushed the levels all the way up, that results in the sound sounding really strong. For instance, see in this clipper, I'm not going to change this, but in this clipper there, see, I can get into these levels here and see these peaks here. That's your dynamics. Now, you can see that I'm barely just touching them. I don't really want to touch them. Just keep them where they are. So the clipper does a wee bit, but I can, honest to God, I can pull this level up here and see all these lines. They lock them down flat, and then it means I can shove the volume up even more. But there's a crispiness to the sound I don't want. I don't want to kick its cunt in, because that's technically what I think you're doing to your song. You're battling its brains in, and you don't really want to do that. But people want that, and apparently different styles of music will have that. Well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have a brick wall song, you know what I mean? I want to see some dynamics in my song, and I think you should as well. So I've listened to all sorts of arguments for mastering engineers saying push it to 8 and let them bring it down. But I also heard one where it was a producer, what we would all like to be, saying to one of his clients, and apparently it was a famous lassie, I can't remember who it was because I've seen so many videos, and the record company was trying to push her to say, go 8, loves, go 8, loves. Don't give a toss about Spotify. And the engineer or the producer sat her down and basically told her what it meant. You know what I mean? And he convinced her. He said to her, 20 years down the road, you're not going to like the sound of your song. It's going to sound so compressed and so lifeless, and you're not going to like it. Whereas with these, the dynamic peaks, it gives it that breath of getting up and doing the song. That's how we write songs, isn't it? They got them down in volume, etc. And it'll sound crushed, and it won't sound as nice. It's got a kind of brittle sound to it, I think. And he convinced the lassie to no go all the way up to 8. I can't remember what number he done. I don't know if he, excuse me, I don't know if he went 14. But apparently the lassie had a success with a record, and the argument basically was, you don't need to be dead loud like everybody else in order for people to like your music, because it comes down to one thing: is your tune good enough? Not the other way around. How loud is your song? You know what I mean? Just because the song that was on before yours was a billion times louder doesn't mean it's better. It really doesn't. It just means it's louder, and you might hate it even more because it's so bloody loud. Well, anyway, also I watched other videos and audiophiles. An audiophile is a person who buys hi-fis and record players. And way back in the 80s, I was in Glasgow, and my friend of mine had a Nakamichi tape deck, just a stereo tape deck, and his brother took him to Glasgow to get it repaired. And whilst in the shop, I'm not kidding you, there was this glass case, and it was the arm, just the arm. You know, the arms that come across and then go down, and the needle touches the vinyl, and it plays your record. That arm cost £300. I was blown away way back in the 80s for just an arm. How much did the whole thing cost in general? Like thousands of pounds, must have been. So these audiophiles, they're not too happy about what's happening to music, because they're basically saying, see that, you can see the wee red bit up there? That means they've been crushed. I can shove that number up. What is that number on mine? I've got that at 1.8 plus, so I'm not going any further than that. And so they're saying that when they buy if they get records and they play records that are really loud, it means that the signal on the record is so hot that the needle on the record is like kind of bouncing up and down, and it's no good, and it sounds horrible. And if you've got if you can spend thousands of pounds on an album or a record or a tape deck just to listen to my music and your music, and we're giving these people crap audio that it's so loud and it's been crushed so much that they don't want to buy it anymore. One guy was saying, I'm not buying vinyl anymore. I don't buy vinyl anymore. He had an analyzer and it showed you playing, like, let's say, Iron Maiden, and he played the original Iron Maiden album, and you could, I think it was a CD, and you could see at the top of the analyzer it was a wee bit red. But when they re-released it, and other bands have re-released it, they're so much louder. But at the top of the analyzer, it's really all red. That means that, like, it's clipping really badly. So, and they says the sound is disgusting, and so we don't buy them anymore. We're not buying them anymore. And so you need to take all these people into consideration. You need to take it. Do you want to be dead loud? Don't you give a rat's arse about your music or the sound of your music? Don't you care about Spotify's levels? Don't you care about what the artists want? But what I did is I went through my songs, a song, and they might sound different in other ones, but I went through a song, and what I done is I mastered it. Well, I didn't master it. I mastered it, but I'm just talking about the levels I created. I created one at 8 LUFS. I wasn't going to go to 6 LUFS. That sounds horrible. Don't go to 6 LUFS. I don't give a rat's ass. But if anybody asked me to master a song at 6 LUFS, I'd say, no, I'm not doing it. Get somebody else. 8 LUFS. Done it at 8 LUFS. Still don't like it. I think I've done it around about 13, and I've done it at 14. And this is what you should do as well. Take your song. The biggest obstacle for us as musicians is everybody's listening on phones. There are audiophiles out there, but there are people who just listen on phones, and so we need to write our music to sound good on a bloody phone, and we need to buy all this software to try and enhance that to make sure it sounds right. But you also need to do other things. But anyway, I emailed the song to myself. It was just an MP3 and a high level, high quality MP3, and I emailed it and I listened to them on my phone. It sounds horrible. Sounds horrible. 14 sounding great. 13 sounded alright, which has brought me to the conclusion that for me personally, if you do want a wee bit of perceived loudness and you don't mind these different companies pulling down your music a wee bit, I'm going for 12. I think 12 will be alright. I think it sounds okay. 13 sounded alright. You know what I mean? 12 sounds okay. 8 didn't. Didn't like it. And I can't imagine anybody wanting to listen to, well, they do actually, you know what I mean? But if you're a musician and you're a songwriter and a producer, etc., you're going to really pinpoint everything in your song. People might listen to your song and it might sound crispy, and they might think, oh, that's what this song's all about. It's a crispy song with distortion, peakiness. That's what gives it its edge. Well, if you take away all the limiters and all that, your song doesn't have that. Doesn't have any of that. They're just pushing it to get these loud levels. So technically not. It's not. So I'm just going to start mastering that, and if they want to pull it down to 14, then I don't mind. So the reason I made this wee video is just to say, well, I've looked at a lot of these things. I'm at the stages where I'm kind of finishing up some tracks, and I'm not on Spotify or anything like that yet, but eventually I will. But these are all the wee niggling things you need to ask yourself, what's it going to be? Is it going to be 14? Is it going to be 8? Is it going to be 6? Is it going to be 1, for fuck's sake? You know what I mean? How far do you push it? I'm going to push it to 12. Sounds alright. And I think what you should do yourselves is actually take a song, master it to the way you like it, and email it to yourself and listen to it on your phone. And even if you've got mates, get them to download it as well to their phone. And obviously all phones are different. And then just see what it sounds like. If it sounds good, what you can and can't hear, what's missing. But I think you should definitely do an 8 LUFS and do it as a 14, and maybe something in the middle. And then listen to them all and see what one you like the best. What one sounds crushed on the phone. So there you go. That rant.